Welcome to the Daily Update Podcast, where I'll go over the action in the market for Tuesday, July 15th, and we'll see how things look for Wednesday, July 16th. The S&P 500 closed lower, down 0.4%, signaling some internal weakness despite the modest percentage decline, but ended at the day's low below the S1 support level at 62.47. Growth sectors, particularly semiconductors including NVIDIA, were the bright spot. This was helped by news of robust high-end chip sales being agreed to for China. This strength propelled the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100 to fresh all-time highs. However, value stocks and the broader market struggled, with financials dropping 1.7% despite strong earnings from JPMorgan Chase and BlackRock. A sell-the-news reaction weighed on the sector, with Citigroup bucking the trend up 3.7%, while Wells Fargo declined 5.5%. Mid-caps and small-caps also faced steeper declines, with both growth and value components under pressure. Turning to the key economic data, the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, came in hotter than expected. It rose 0.3% month-over-month against a forecast of a rise of 0.2%. Core inflation also surprised, shaking a market that had grown somewhat complacent. Year-over-year, CPI is trending higher, hovering around 3%, above the Federal Reserve's 2% target. This pushed the 10-year yield to 4.49%, nearing the critical 4.5% level, which could add pressure to stocks. On a brighter note, the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index turned positive, signaling regional economic improvement. Breaking down the market dynamics, the S&P 500 opened with a gap up, driven by lower-than-expected headline CPI numbers, but momentum faded as the index fell below key pivot levels. It fell below R2, R1, the daily pivot, before seeing selling into the close. Sentiment still remains elevated at 74, very close to the cautionary 75 level, with low fear and minimal hedging. Trading volume continues to be below average, but a spike in selling volume could signal deeper concerns. The technical indicators point to short-term weakness, with the Stochk RSI in extreme negative territory already and momentum oscillators declining. However, the intermediate and long-term trends remain positive, with the S&P 500's proximity to its 20-period moving average suggesting overbought conditions are easing. Notably, the Zohorchak method issued a rare long-term sell signal, though it awaits confirmation from other indicators. Looking at sector and ratio trends, growth stocks outperform value, with the growth-to-value ratio hitting new highs. Tech and semiconductors led the charge, while staples and financials lagged. International focus stocks have recently outperformed domestic stocks despite tariff concerns. The S&P 500 equal-weighted index trailed its cap-weighted counterpart, and market breadth narrowed slightly, though the advanced decline lines still are holding above their longer-term moving averages. Looking ahead to Wednesday, July 16th, key reports to watch include the Producer Price Index and the weekly MBA Mortgage Applications Index. Also, industrial production and capacity utilization will be released. Geopolitical developments and trade or tariff news will also remain in focus. Seasonality tends to turn more neutral to negative for the Dow for July 16th, and it does soften in the second half of July. With options expiration looming on this coming Friday, volatility could pick up, though historical data leans toward more upside than downside. That said, the second half of July has historically underperformed, especially the last few years, with 2023 and 2024 showing significant mid to July and even into October pullbacks, followed by recoveries. In conclusion, the S&P remains positive across all time frames, but is showing signs of a potential pullback, likely working off overbought conditions. Growth sectors continue to drive strength, while value and small caps are lagging. Rising inflation and yields are notable concerns, but no major reversal has yet been confirmed. Wednesday's economic data could help provide further clarity, with the market potentially pausing before resuming its upward trajectory. I hope you found this podcast helpful. For more in-depth analysis and commentary, the full-length daily video update is available on YouTube and Rumble right when the market closes each day. To access the videos immediately after they are available, or to access the daily newsletter, please click on the links below.